Hey, welcome to See I Am Me. I'm your host, Rashawn, and we're here with a new episode today. I got my homeboy, Mr. Ward, in the game. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Anthony. So I met him when I was a professor of military science at the University of North Alabama. He was a recruiter coming through hustling, brand new in the area. But what came out of that is that we created a pretty good bond, a good relationship. And we started doing a lot of things together, not only to help him recruit, help me recruit, but help the people out in the community. So today we're gonna come on and talk to Anthony. Come on in.
How you doing, everybody?
What's going on, man? So Anthony, welcome to the game. You in the game right now, man.
Yeah, for sure. How you
So
been?
tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself.
Uh, so I got the Georgia shirt on. I'm Georgia raised. I've been married over a decade now. Three little kids. Probably top priority in my life. I've been in the army around 14 years as a 19 kilo tanker. A lot of people don't know what it is. They think it's a fueler when you say tanker, but I'm actually the guy with the track vehicle that blows stuff up. So I usually tell people I blow stuff up. Uh, the army's been good to me thus far. Not what everybody thinks it is. Um, but I'm also with 14 years in thinking about the next phase of my life, which is civilian life, retired. So now, me and my wife are trying to coordinate where we want to retire and let our kids finish out school and set some roots down.
That's good, man. So, the army life, what did the cadence say? This army life just ain't my
It's,
style. That got me looking like Gomer Pyle. You
man,
know,
yeah. Look, it started. I was 22 years old. I had just finished my associate's degree in computer networking. I didn't really know what to do with it at the time, just young, and I wanted nice things. So I knew I had to have money to get nice things, and nothing really looked too promising. So the age of 22, I had locks like any other young kid, just didn't want to, and I cut my hair and joined the army. I never looked back, never looked back. So it's been very good to me. At least to say, I wish I would have joined when I was early. I'd probably been closer to retiring.
I think we all say that because
Yeah.
I joined when I was 26.
Oh
And
wow.
so I was thinking to myself, like, golly, man, if I would have just gone and pulled the trigger, but
Right.
but I was hooping. There was a lot going on. So what was going through your mind when you joined the army? When you first decided, like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. What was going through your
So
mind?
I was watching the news a little bit. It was probably 2009. And they was just talking about the economy. It was crazy for me to be paying attention to stuff at that young. And it was like, jobs aren't available. People are kind of working minimal. And with my mom and dad, they did the best they can with me and my sister. And I seen them kind of just work, really hard to provide for us. So I was like, man, I want to do something. And my dad, he also served. So, I had him as an outlet. I have three or four uncles that served that they probably been trying to get me to go since high school. But I was like, I'm not joining the army. I'm not cutting my hair. I'm not doing nothing about the military excites me. And then my cousin, we kind of grew up together. He's older than me, but he joined the Air Force at the age of 17. And he just so happened to come home on leave and he had this nice shiny black BMW. And like I said, I wanted nice things, and that attracted me right away. And I think that Monday I walked in the recruit station. I walked in that
You're like,
recruiting
hey,
station.
you was like, hey, I came here to get the BMW.
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I was like, "Let's what? I'm ready to go right now. What's the quickest ship date you have? Tell me the process. What do you need from me?" It took me a little while to leave. I joined in October, but I didn't leave until March. But that was the quickest thing they had back then. So, but I was ready to go.
So So once you joined and you start moving down your career path, when did the family come into play? Like, did you start off with the family dynamic or what?
No. Single 22-year-old guy. I told myself I was only gonna do 3 years and then get out and then try to find me a nice job. My first duty station was Fort Hood. I had a really good time, met some guys there that I'm still friends with to this day. I think we talk on the phone every day, about five
Mm,
of us. It was time for me to re-enlist. I had not set myself up for transition after the military. So I went to my retention NCO. I was like, hey, what's available for me? I raised my GT score to 110. I did all those things so I could try to pick something more support like to transition after the military. I really wanted to do computer networking, 25 Bravo. But it wasn't available. So she was like, what else can I help you with? I was like, well, I'm not ready to get out of the army. So can you get me Fort Benning, Georgia, which is 2 hours away from my hometown? I was like, well, at
yeah.
least if I'm there, I can drive home on the weekends and see my family and go about it like that. So she gave me Fort Benning, Georgia, was my next duty station after my first 3 years. I went there, had a blast, and that's where I met my wife. There, my second duty
Okay.
station.
All
And
right.
yeah, she came, and then it happened so fast, like the blink of an eye, blink of an eye.
Yeah. And then now you're on the back end, family man.
Now we 10 years in. She was also in the military. She separated a couple of years ago. Um, but we did it for a little while together. She decided to get out, just wasn't for her. But she had a really good job in she was supply. So she could
Mhm.
put her resume on Indeed or US Army jobs and she'll get a phone call in about 48 hours easy. But she decided just to go to school full time and stay at home with the kids, which I'm very grateful for while I still push forward with my career.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, Anthony, we're going to hit a quick commercial break and then we're going to
Okay.
come back and you get into some of your thoughts.
Hey, it's AC of AC Sports Live, an interactive sports talk show where your comments are part of the show. Every show we focus on the sports stories of today with commentary on sports takes, my 2 cents, which is a reaction to my social media feed, Sports Flicks, where we take a look at sports movies and give a quick review. We have a segment called Mental Reps, where we have words of inspiration to help battle the dark side of men's mental health. And then there's the Tender Love Report. Who's being soft or petty in the world of sports? All takes are welcome under one condition. Say it with your chest. I'll see you there.
All right, so we're back. So Anthony, you had this quote that says elevation requires separation. And when
Hmm.
I think about elevation requires separation, I think about I was watching I don't know a YouTube or something, and Snoop Dogg was on there, and he was talking about how like he was talking about the gap, right?
Hmm.
And he was like, when you start off, you start off kind of like right here, right? And
Right.
that's you, that's all your friends, all y'all are kind of right here. And then as you start to grow, you grow, and if your friends ain't growing, you increasing that gap. And the only way to get back close to your friends is to either them bring themselves up or you to bring yourself back down. But a lot of us, once we go out and get it, we ain't trying to go back down.
Absolutely
So
not.
when I think about elevation requires separation, that's what that means to me. You explain to me what does that mean to you?
That's crazy. That's what I think about it as well. It's the exact same concept. Where I'm from in Thomasville, Georgia, small town. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody's either related by family or family of a friend. Um, so with me, it was kind of like all my friends. We in high school. We've been going to school together since elementary school. Everybody go to the same middle school, and then everybody goes to the same high school. Literally, the high schools are probably maybe 3 miles apart. So we have a big rivalry in football, but we still all know each other. either from relation or, just our parents went to school together. It's just an ongoing thing. But I knew that's not where I knew I didn't want to stay there. There was no opportunity there for me to elevate in which way that I wanted to. I knew I wanted to, travel a little more. My parents always used to tell me, hey, make sure you have a plan, go out and see things, just,
Yeah.
do something different and don't just, something might seem cool right then, but you don't know what it took for them to get it. And, just have your own path. So, the elevation started, just my cousin came home and he elevated from his friends and separated. He was all the way in Colorado from Georgia. Who would have knew it, Colorado? And he was telling me all his experiences as well as that nice shiny BMW. And it was just like, I want to do something different. And I talked to a couple of friends. I was a little nervous at first. I was like, hey y'all, let's go to the army and let's just try it out and see what happens. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody was kind of content with, every town has some type of maybe like factory job or something to where as an 18-year-old making double digits, you think you're doing pretty good living with your parents. And I
Yeah.
know I didn't want to live with my parents. I was like, I do not want to be 25 years old and ready for a girlfriend. And she can't even spend the night because I don't want to disrespect my parents' house. My mom's like, you ain't bringing no girl in here if y'all ain't married. So, it's like, at what point do I can't consider myself a man if I'm not doing things it takes to consider myself a man. So the elevation, like I said, I left for basic training. I didn't look back. And now, some of those friends either fell by the wayside or I don't know. I don't look at them any different. I'm just glad I made the leap to separate myself. And
Was it?
I'm not lowering myself back down.
Yeah, I feel that. So was it hard for you though? So when you were like, I'm out of here, and so because when you leave your friends,
Hmm.
that's a significant emotional event. When you leave your family, that's like life changing.
Right.
And like you say, sometimes people when they see you again, they kind of like, look at this cat, look at this
Yeah.
cat right here.
Oh, you think y'all
Did you
that and
experience any of that?
I did. I did. I left, I went, and I came home. And it's crazy because now everybody think we make so much money in the army, which if you do the right things, you have a nice little pocket. But it's like they, I don't know, it was jealous. I felt the jealousy, but I was like, you guys got the same opportunity. I'm only in the army probably what 4 or 5 months at this point. I'm like, you can still try. We could potentially make this thing a career together, or at least give it a shot. Um, I don't think I convinced not one of my friends to join after me. And then they started just doing whatever was around, holding down whatever type of job they could get, having babies. I didn't have my first kid, I think, till I was 25, 26 maybe. And yeah, it was like I can't come back. So I would only go back to visit my parents. I wouldn't go to any parties, anything like that. I sat at the house, I seen my parents and I seen my grandparents, and I go back home and I would leave. Nobody would even know I was there unless they happen to see me at a store. But I stopped going to the store too because I didn't want to. Yeah, I just didn't want that type of negative energy on me when they felt the jealous, like I'm doing better. I am doing better, but you had the opportunity as well. So it was
Yeah,
it was
that
crazy going back home a lot.
Yeah, the opportunities are for everybody, right? And it doesn't
Right.
necessarily even have to be the army. Like I look at it like when I left for college, I had a basketball scholarship and I was out. And when I
Hmm.
was out, I mean I was out. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know if people even know I was still alive anymore, right? And but I was all the way in Ohio and I was pretty broke anyway because I'm a college student just trying to figure it out. And
Hmm.
then when I did go back home, I was kind of like you, man. I went to my mama's house. I used to sleep on the couch. My mom would give me this little blanket. I sleep
Yep.
on the couch, and then when it was time to roll, I was out. And then I posted. Then I posted like, hey, yeah, full work. Hey, you in full work right now? Nah, bro, I just left.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
because I know the deal. I came up a certain way, so I'm not trying to be involved in all that. And plus, I finally feel like I got some upward mobility going. And from listening to you talk, I mean, it seems like the same thing. So did you have any friends that ever try to wrap you back in the game? You know, they're like, hey, bro, come on over here. Hey, let's try this.
Every time. Every time. I was, of course, I'm over the age of 21, so legally, we able to drink. But it's like I always had to buy it. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, you guys kind of, you guys don't work or whatever else. Why I always have to front the bottle, right? And we going to a party, or whatever. I'm paying my way in. I'm looking back, and they kind of pat in their pocket. You know that trick to make it seem like you got the money and you lost it. You pay your pocket. Oh man, let me run back to the car. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I ain't seen my friends in a while. Hey, come on in, man. I got y'all, right? So I'm paying for that, and it got too expensive to say the least, right? And I'm like, man, I drove all this way to kick it with you guys, and y'all make it seem like y'all doing okay, but really y'all aren't. So I just stopped. Like I said, I would come home, I eat a home cooked meal, and I leave, and I post on Facebook. And they was like, hey man, come by. I was like, bro, I'm back in Texas. Like, when
Yeah.
you coming back? Next year. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that thing again. Like that's too much going on. Too much going on. So, my friends in Texas that I met there, we would all enjoy, the time because we all understood, hey, everybody got their own money, and it's a different
Yeah.
type of vibe. So I was ready to get back to those friends. They're my hometown friends than anything.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, man, that's funny that you mentioned that. You said you was ready to get back to those folks who had something going on. You know, I say it like this. You know, I love my homies. I love them to death. We grew up together. We was in the streets together. We did a lot of things. But the friends that I had made in the army, I don't know if it's because you know, we're all like grinding down the same path.
mhm,
We're all like higher level thinkers when it comes to organizational strength and health or strategic thinking, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But
right.
we're always trying to get somewhere. We're always trying to figure out how to solve a problem or what's next. And we're all supporting and lifting each other up. Not saying that didn't happen back when I was growing up, but it just happened a different way that I ain't part of no more, right?
That's right.
Especially where you got your family now,
Hmm.
so you like focusing in on them. You got the kids, so you got to focus in on them. And then here comes the plug. You got the clothing line now, so you got to focus in on that, right?
That's right. That's right. I'm always looking for a way to elevate. I used to be in a fashion a lot in high school. I won best dress out of my class, graduating high school. So I want to start something that I could pass down to my kids. My dad always had an entrepreneur mindset, and he was like, why work for somebody else when you can make it yourself? Or, things like that. So I was like, well, I like clothes. A lot of people know I'm into clothes. I think I can make this happen. So I started doing it, and I kind of just tried. I just jumped in the water with no life vests, and it was going pretty good. But now I'm trying to reel it back in. I think I want to focus more on kind of like dad and son type deal because my son, he's not really into fashion, but he likes to draw. So what
Yeah.
I want to do is transition some of his drawings into a shirt, like a dad and me type deal.
Mm.
So now I'm kind of researching that and still want to do the urban wear for the adults as well. So we're going to it in the spring. I'm looking to drop it and get it back going and flourishing. I have a really good plan, and now I'm back enrolled in school for business, and now I have a structure to follow. So I'm in the school and also trying to start it at the same time. But it's working well for me because I'm using that personal things to do real assignments. So I think that's helping for me as well.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody out there the name of your clothing line.
My clothing line is Earmark Clothing and Apparel. Right now in stock, I have sweatsuits. They're really, really thick. So if you're in a cold area, tap in because you don't even have to wear a t-shirt under this thing. I am limited sizes. So you can just hit me in a DM. I see what size I have. I have 4 different colors. I have a shirt that I have up to a size large. that has my purpose on it. You can read that and understand my vision for my clothing line. I also have socks that I would give you with every purchase, and I have some leather trucker hats. I have about 5 of those left. So just hit me in a DM and I'll tell you everything I have and what size.
What's the DM or what's the website?
So Earmark Clothing and Apparel on Instagram. I'm only on Instagram for that. You could just hit me in the DM, and I'm pretty active on there. So I hit you right back and tell you my sizes, the prices, and everything like that. And I usually ship out within a day or two.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. You know, for you to start up something like, because most people don't believe that they can do two things at one time, right? So I'm listening to you right now. You're like, okay, I started back up school for business. So, you know, I gotta go get my mind right. I gotta understand the structure of what I'm operating in. You doing the Army thing, right?
Right.
So you taking care of the family, getting them benefits, right?
Oh man,
Knocking
yeah.
all that stuff out, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
then, you know, you got your clothing line that you're working on, and you trying to figure out how to make that work. Because this is how I see it. If you really have something inside that you want to do with your life, if it's a vision, if it's a passion, you got to go out there. And it's never a good time to go out there, because you hear a lot of people say, well, when I spread this up, I'm gonna go do it. I'm just saying, get out there and do it, because you know I got a couple of your shirts, right? You know, got a couple of shirts.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
rock every now and then. I'm a little bit bigger than I was, so I got
Me
to
too.
be up
Me too. Yeah.
on some shirts. But hey, I think it's awesome that you're out there and you're executing your vision in the world. And speaking about executing your vision in the world, you said which you mentioned once, greatness began when you joined the Army. Why did you say that?
New things, elevation, separation, all ties into that. It's just like, I separated myself from my community, the things that, my friends were doing. I never looked back, and I met so many great people, including yourself. You meet so many people in the Army from different places that's maybe doing something, or it could be something as simple as something materialistic that you may have. Like, you have that nice SUVs that I've seen you drive, and I already told you my cousin got me to join because of BMW. Just anything like that that you can see and kind of like, hey, well, what did this guy do to get that? He's in the Army. He has to be, budgeting something right. He might have some information to give me. I met so many great people in the Army that just put me in the right direction with anything, money, family, my career, just anything that I could soak up to elevate myself as a soldier, a husband, a man, just anything. And sometimes some people get comfortable being in places, and who I forgot who, I think it was a Mike Tyson thing I heard. He was like, you have to make yourself comfortable being uncomfortable. So you
Mm,
have to do some
mm.
things that you don't want to do, but you need to do it like you love it. And when Mike Tyson said that, I was like, that's crazy. Because I like to work out, but I hate running. But it's part of it, right? So I have to run like I love it. I still don't love it, but I can fake it. I can fake it. So it's just certain things. Like, I didn't want to join the Army. I didn't want to cut my hair, whatever it may happen. I just didn't want to do it. But, I joined it and I'm in it. I don't know if I love it, but I enjoy it enough to keep going. I know what it's doing for me. And I got about 6 more years left. So,
Yeah, I think you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right?
yep.
And I think that's the mantra of life for most people. You know, like you say, you equate it to running. You know, I too hate running, right? And but I hate running because my knees is bad, and then every
Woo.
time I run, my leg is hurting, and you know what? But I'm a big guy. I got to keep on
Yep.
running. I go back to your statement, right? Um, I was going somewhere, and I was at the car wash. So I'm pulling in to get my car wash. This youngster at the car wash, he saw the Maserati, so he's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, what do you do? What do you do,
Yeah.
man? You got
Yep.
this Maserati. I said, you can do what I do, homeboy. And he was like, yes, how do what I gotta do? I said, go join the army.
Yeah. Whole
My
mindset
man
change.
was like, hold on now. He was
Yep.
like, so how did you get that by joining the army? And I told him, like, hey, like, you can get what you really want if you put your mind to it, but don't
That's right.
only think that the army is the only thing that you can do. The army is occupation, but when we get in it, we're always quoting some creeds or something to stay in alignment with what the army wants us to be. But at the end of the day, that thing's gonna have to stop at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really know when it's going to stop. You don't know if it's going to stop because you just decided to be like, all right, or it stopped because you got hurt or something crazy happened and the army was like, not you no more, my guy. So it's imperative that when you into something, whether it's the army or whatever you're doing, that you got something else that you can put your energy into. So you don't only ever see yourself as a soldier, you have to see yourself as an individual. You have to see yourself as Anthony. You know what I
Right.
mean? I see myself as Rashawn all the time. And Rashawn just happens to be a soldier. I'm not Soldier Boy who's Rashawn, so
That's right.
I tell people all the time, man, I'm like, I am a soldier, but I am Rashawn Warren, see I am me, right? Hey, we're gonna go to a
Man.
quick commercial and we're gonna come back and jump right back into it.
Hello, welcome to Veritas. I'm your host, Adam Colazetti, and I'm here to guide you on a meditative adventure like no other. Join me and lose yourself in your imagination as we travel the outer reaches of the cosmos, quest for powerful talismans, and explore the inner realm of your subconscious. What might you find along the way? But be warned, fair traveler, this path is not for the faint of heart. On this path, of one thing I am certain, dragons be here. Are you ready?
All right. While we were in a little quick break, I was thinking about like, hey, I am disciplined. I am physically and mentally tough.
Yeah.
So
Every day.
the army can be demanding at times, right? And for since it's so demanding, it requires a high level of discipline in order to get to where you want to be. So how has the discipline, well, how has the demanding nature of the army and the discipline that you have affected your day-to-day life?
Whew. It's funny you asked that question. So I was just in a high school this past week, Wilson High School, and I get asked this question a lot. What's the hardest thing about basic training? Right?
Mm.
They asked me, but I asked them. I asked them their question with a question. What do you guys think? I don't know. It just seems hard, and I don't know. That's all they say. I don't know. It just seems hard, right? So then I say, well, I know what it is. It's discipline. And
Mm.
everybody's kind of like, what? I said discipline. You don't want anybody to tell you what to do. You don't want anybody to give you any purpose, direction, anything like that, but you don't have any purpose or direction. So the hardest thing for you in basic training is discipline. I said, because if I tell you to stand there, be quiet, don't talk, I turn my back, you start talking. Now you have made a choice, which is going to cause me to do something. So you won't do it again. So, and it was like, well, I don't want nobody yelling at me. Name me a career where you're not going to work for somebody when somebody's not going to tell you what to do. And there are crickets, right? So I was like, well, now you have to think about what type of profession can you deal with when you can work for someone and just get the job done. It's just discipline. If I tell you what I need done at the beginning of the day and you don't have it done by the end of the day, you don't have enough discipline to do it, right? So it's like discipline aspect for me was just, you know what? I know I need to do these things, and you just stay true to yourself. If you're gonna set out to do something, it might not be somewhere for somebody to check over you all the time. If when you become a dad, hey, I'm a dad now. I want to make sure, I don't know, I always have money for my kids to get Pampers or whatever. right? So you want to make sure you have those things. So if you're a gamer and you like spend money on games, you're not gonna want to spend your last dollar on the game because your kids need diapers, right? You need that discipline to differentiate between the two of them. So, or your wife or your kid's mother is gonna be like, "Hey, did you get the diapers? Oh, I forgot I bought this game." Now your wife or
Mm,
your girlfriend is gonna tell you what to do, you know? So it's always a
mm.
time for that. Discipline is I think is one of the things you know, separation and elevation. I think that's the word that goes in between it. If you don't have it, you're not gonna elevate. You're not gonna separate. You got to be disciplined enough to remove yourself from a community and disciplined enough to stay on a path and elevate. So if you don't have that in between it, you won't have it at all.
Yeah, that's that man. I'm gonna tell you what, that discipline is a monster.
Hmm.
Wake up in the morning. Alarm go off 4 o'clock. I'm
Right.
out the house by 4:30. You know what I mean? I'm in
Hmm.
there getting it right. You know what? If I got some time at lunch, I know like okay, I want to go eat this, but I got to get in there and keep it working. When I get out work, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, I got a little bit of time that I can run up in here and work on my physical self. But it's not
Right.
only the physical self, it's the mental self too. Because, like I got to read these things to stay up on the game, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe I'm working on I'm trying to get that business degree. So I got to get in them books because I'm doing a lot of self development right now. And I'm just
Hmm.
trying to be the best version of myself. But without discipline, you're gonna suffer, man. I think a lot of people have motivation,
Hmm.
but then they forget that motivation is temporary. Motivation
Small.
is nothing compared to discipline. It's like
Nothing.
I'm gonna go to the store. I'm trying to get shredded, right? I'm trying to get fit. I'll go to the store and no, I'm not gonna get the apple pie. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get the boiled eggs and I'm only going to eat the white part of it because I'm trying to cut it up, right? So, if you talk about that, and we talk a little bit
Hmm.
about discipline, discipline kind of rolls right into keys to success, right? When I started thinking about the army, or you thinking about everything that you're doing in your everyday life, what are some of the lessons that you've learned throughout your leadership travels in the army? What are some of the things that
Hmm.
one you try to get at other people that you meet, or some that you try to push out to your kids as far as leadership is concerned?
I'm a firm believer of lead by example.
Yeah.
Firm, firm believer in that. I can tell you what to do all day long. But a lot of kids, well, a lot of the younger generation, they do what they see. They like what they see. Social media, right? Regardless of what I show you on social media, you could probably think I'm a millionaire. I can go get some fake money. I can show it to you, 30-second clip, but you don't know what I'm doing the other 23 hours and 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I'm showing them things of how to be successful, or if I'm telling you something, you see me doing it also, which is one of the reasons why I got back into school. I can't, preach to my kids the importance is of school if I don't have a degree hanging up on the wall. Yeah, I did high school, but they didn't see that, right? So now my
Yeah.
kids see me in school. So, when I get my first set of grades, I'm gonna show them, hey, daddy did this. When you guys are asleep at night, daddy is up doing homework. Or, with sports, anything like that that they're participating in, they know I like to go to the gym, so they know I always work on the physical. So, and then,
Hmm.
just with leadership and the young kids that I talk to in high schools, it's like, what do you inspire to be? What do you want to do different? And I say I'm 36 right now. Most of you guys' parents are 36 or a little older, right? So my question is, whose parents, you don't have to raise your hand, whose parents is still working hard and can't see the light of retiring, right? I raised my hand because at the age of 42, old Soren Ward is can be done. I won't have to work again if I don't want to. At the age of 42. So I say, how many of you guys have parents over the age of 42 still working really, really hard? They can't leave their job and whatever these things are. I was like, you can do something different, right? And I say I did it different. I started at 22. I haven't looked back, right? I met some good guys on the way that taught me about purchasing houses,
Mm.
stocks, saving money, starting side businesses, putting your kids into businesses. Like it's so many things out there you can do. But if you don't take that chance and have the discipline to keep going, that motivation means nothing. Everybody got an idea or a plan. It don't take you if you don't execute it, it's not worth it. I mean, just looking at Amazon, I'm pretty sure those kids never Googled the picture of when this guy first started in this basement,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Or anything. Like, you got to see where these people started. It's not. It didn't. Yeah, you see the fruits of his labor, but you don't know what it took for him to get there. You have no idea. And I try to show them, like, hey, I started here. Well, how much money do you make in the army? Google it. It's no secret. You can Google how much I make in the army. Sergeant first class, E7, 14 years with dependents. It'll show you. It ain't no secret, right? But what you don't know is what else Sergeant Ward got going on outside of that money. That's a secret. I could tell you, but can't tell you all the secrets until you get in the club. That's what I always tell them. Can't tell you all the
Yeah.
secrets till you get in the club, right? It's so many other things that you can do with that steady paycheck of the army to finance whatever you want to do. You want to cut hair, bro? Your biggest clientele, if you cut hair, is in the army. Every soldier need a haircut.
Every
Every
soldier.
last one of them soldiers need a haircut. And you can undercut all the barbers. You can charge $10. You know what I mean? Even if you're not that good, you can still keep the hair off the ear, keep the hair off the back of the neck, right? And then, for the young ladies, hey, all these young ladies like makeup just like you, right? You can do it on the weekend because you got to wash it off anyway. All those things that you can do. Or guys be like, well, they into music. I have friends in the military that produce music on the weekends. It's no limit to what you can do. No limit at all. And I think meeting certain people in the beginning of my career really helped me to elevate, life after the army.
Oh yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I'm like a testament. Well, we're both testaments to that, right? Of life after the army, right? Man, I always when I joined the army, at first I was like you, I wasn't gonna stay a long time. But then I was like, just easy right now. I'm gonna
It's
roll this
easy.
out. But I was dedicated, it was still I was still part of a team. I grew up in sports, being part of a team, doing stuff with other people. So it was easy for me to go into that. But you know what? Like halfway through my career, I started realizing I'm really good at this army thing. You know what I mean? Like I like if you say, hey, are you the best tactician or something like that? Probably not. But if you say, hey, did I master the art of being around other people and helping people? Yes,
Mhm.
I have. And me being able to just meet people, communicate with people, help others succeed has propelled me to where I'm at now. But I always wanted to do what we're doing right now, like on
Right.
a show, kind of talking and just being like, hey, you can do it, man, or like let other people out in the mix hear your story. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it's
Right.
all about. Your story, my story is whatever. But everyone who gets on here and tells the story of how they get after it, what people are seeing is that everybody is doing it different, right?
Hmm.
Everybody is traveling a different path. And somebody out there watching or listening right now is like, man, Anthony just put me on game right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go out and believe that they can do more than one thing. They're gonna go out there and believe, like, man, you know what? I can get that haircut, that barber license, or I can
Hmm.
get this makeup right. Or, they can think like, damn, man, Lieutenant Colonel Warren is out there doing shows, like,
Exactly.
and now people can see that you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into something, because that's lower level thinking. That's lower level thinking. So as we continue to talk about, just moving the ball forward, having some success, being disciplined, like what was a challenge that you had to break yourself up out of? Like something you thought something was going right, then bam, it didn't go quite like you thought it was gonna go, and you had to dig yourself up out of it and get back on the grind.
So like I had mentioned earlier, I only planned on doing 3 years, but I was really into computers. I'm like a computer nerd by nature. I don't know where I get it from. I was just really good at computers. So I slowed my Army career down tremendously. And I stayed at the rank of an E5 so that I could try to reclass. I really, really wanted to be a 25 Bravo, which is the computer guys. That's where I
Mm-hmm.
felt like my passion was. So I slowed my career down probably by like 3 years behind my peers. Behind the peers that I came in the Army with right now. I slowed my career down tremendously to try to secure that job because I felt like that's where I want to be. It didn't work out for me. I tried maybe 3 times to reclass, even though I had all the line scores. I also tried to come to the dark side. I tried green to gold 3 times. That didn't happen for me, and yeah, it was kind of getting a little shaky. Like, man, am I not destined for anything other than this right now? I don't mind it, but I want it more. So I definitely got down in the slumps about that. I was like, I don't understand because I would see people doing it, and naturally you compare yourself to someone else. Like, well, what did this guy do that I don't have, or what does his resume look like that mine doesn't look like? So I got down in the slumps about that for a while. And then I got to my next duty station in El Paso. Tried to go to the dark side one more time, didn't work out for me. And then here comes a great mentor, my platoon sergeant. Just we went to lunch, we had a conversation, and he was like, "Hey, man, I know you didn't do what you want to, but you're still in a good area to progress in the Army." So he did what I had to do. I made Sergeant First Class on my first look, which some people don't really make on their first time. And he congratulated me. He helped me, molded me into a great NCO and a leader. And now I'm getting looked at for E8 2 years later. So it took a lot of probably just looking at myself and not getting down in slumps, knowing that I put my best foot forward every time, which I did. I put my best foot forward every time in those packets. I reached out to previous commanders. Like, one of my commander actually works at the Pentagon, and I thought for sure with a Pentagon headliner, I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, this guy knows people. And yeah, they politely said no. So it takes it. I think it takes that to just see where you are, what you want to do, right? So I got told no multiple times, but I'm still here. I'm still successful, and there are things still that I can accomplish in this path. I'm kind of behind on some of my peers, but I'm still ahead of some of my peers as well. But when I first started out, I didn't even think I was gonna make E7 anyway. I was like, I'll probably make E5 and get out or whatever. But I've definitely far succeeded from what 22-year-old Anthony thought he could do. And
Yeah.
from a couple years back, I'm definitely in an area to where I feel good about what I'm doing. I am steady progressing. And now I'm in recruiting. They're offering me, another position. I don't know if I'm gonna take it, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But what I think to take a couple of no's will help build a character, because now you have something that I have something that I could tell my kids. Like, hey, you might not be good at that, or you might not get into that, but that doesn't mean that that's the end of the road. You could take another path and still be successful. So
Yeah.
I think it was good for
Yeah.
me to take that.
Well, I was telling, I told many people this story. I don't know if I ever told you. I think I said it on here one time. Is that when I went to the recruiting station when I first joined the military, I went to the recruiting station, and the recruiter guy was like, "Yeah, man, if you work hard, I can get you. You can go to college and become an officer one day." I was like, "I already went to college, and he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, you already went to college, man. Oh, it's time to get you up in
Right.
the officer candidate program." So my man's all I had to do was go take the ASVAB, and I had to score 110 on the ASVAB. I
Mm-hmm.
got like a 105 or something like that. And then I went and
Uh-oh.
took it again. I got like a 108. I took it again. I mean, then I got my GT score to, 111, because, you have to have a 110 to
Right.
GT score in order to be an officer or whatever. So, but when I get into that thing, like I mean, I don't call that failure. I just had to, I failed it, I guess, if you want to look at the metric of the score, but I took it 3 times and I got in there. And since I've been an officer, I just felt like I just been going through a lot of hard times, over the time trying to get to where I wanted to be and trying to get to who I was trying to be. So with that being said, let's go to a quick commercial break and we'll get right back.
Hello, we are the MD and Chef team. I'm nutritional chef Michael, joined by my beautiful wife, Dr. Isabel, medical doctor and suicide survivor.
Yes, I was dropped into the world of mental illness back in 2013, and by the grace of God, I survived suicide. But here's what I learned. We don't have a mental illness issue. That's the downstream event. We're focusing downstream. We should be focusing upstream on our brain health and all the things that we can be doing to support our brain health. Because you see, it's like mopping up the floor when the sink is overflowing instead of turning off the faucet. So come and join us on the MD and Chef Team show.
Come join us.
Well, I was talking about how I was failing a little bit, and we started off with the GT score, and then I was, like you said earlier, you said I didn't even know if I was going to be somewhere first class, as I was moving down the line, when that major board hit, I was like, oh, because the officer separation boards were coming, so they was putting people out this boy, and then I was like, man, I need to get to where I need to be, so I was kind of sweating. But I've always done what I was supposed to do, and boom, come around, I hit the major board, and I'm like, all right, let's just keep doing what Ray been doing. Like, because I've never been a super good student, but what I learned in the Army, that it ain't all about, your tactical prowess and how many books you can read and all that stuff. It's about how you are as a leader. So once I zoned into myself, I'm like, you know what? When this lieutenant colonel board come, I just need to be on the grind and do what I always been doing. List come, wasn't sweating it. Bam, right up in the game, right? But, I've been killing it for the most part. But, when I went to the assessment program the first time, they were like, nope, not you, my guy. You don't got what it takes. So man. I was like, all right, let's retool this thing, right? I went the second time. They was like, still not you, my guy. And so I'm like, man, I am performing at the highest level, right, at work. But then you go to an assessment program, and they tell you that you're not G to G. I can easily be like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm close to that 20. I can shut it down and go to the house. You know what I mean? But I was like, something ain't sitting right. Cause I ain't no quitter. I gotta see what's up with this, So when is the next time, bro? Put me back in the game and see, can I get in there and get it? But that's how I always approach life.
That's right.
Kind of like you were saying earlier, I approach life, I don't expect to win everything. I just need to be a good person, do my thing. We're going to leave you with some things that I want everybody to focus on today. One is remember the words that Anthony had about how to succeed, separate in order to elevate. And if you can separate yourself from those things that are negative, and you can separate yourself from those things that aren't conducive to success, you will elevate yourself to the next level. The second thing I want you to focus on is that you can do more than one thing. Don't get caught up in the fact that you only believe that you can focus on one thing at a time. You can do 2, you can do 3 things if that's what your mind desires, and you can be good at all 3. That's just the way it is. That's the way you have to gear yourself. And I think the third thing I would say is that you got to have self-belief. You got to really believe in who you are if you're trying to get to the pinnacle of your life. Not your career, as you noticed. I did not say your career. That's just a job. I mean, that thing that we're living every day, your life. So all of us have something that we're trying to get out there, and all of us really want to be part of something great. And I'll leave you with this quote. The quote says, all of us are self-made, but only the successful of us are willing to admit it. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And if you were to leave everybody with something, what would it be?
Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. Whatever that means for you. If you have an idea, trust your instincts and have the discipline to complete it. Have the discipline and drive to complete it. Don't take one no as the end all be all. Don't take it. It just helps you come harder. And you just keep going. No, everybody has their own race to run. It's a marathon. It's a marathon.
Yeah, it's definitely, and when we say marathon, man, marathon is long, marathon is hard, and
Yep.
marathon is tough, right?
Very.
So, so for the people out there who's listening, we appreciate y'all. And like, if you wanted somebody to take one thing away from this show today, what would it be?
Elevation requires separation. I mean, you got two guys right here that separated themselves and they have elevated themselves. And I don't think neither one of us are looking back. It made us who we are, but we don't want to go back there. I think we made the great decision of separating ourselves so that we can elevate. And now it's something we can pass on to our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So lastly, before we get up out of here, I need you to throw the plug for the clothing line again. So I want to make sure everybody know what you're doing. So slow it down so everybody can get on Instagram and DM you.
Yeah, Earmark Clothing and Apparel. EARMARK Clothing and Apparel. You'll see a picture of me. I think I got on a blue shirt. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. It's a very unique name. Everybody give me a follow. I give a follow back, and I appreciate all the support.
All right, everyone. Say, we're gonna leave you with this: elevate and separate, and we out.
Listen.